alternate ending. We were just catching up with Cheryl about our sweatpants bottoms that we have. So if you're business on top and sweatpants on bottom,
it's fine.
You're in a safe space.
You don't have to tell, but we are.
Guys, we're all in the same boat. And I have a pajama company. So you guys can get online and order some more PJ sweatpants. I mean, it's our whole world now, right?
Yeah, if I could have taken some stock in the casual or the dress sweats.
Dress
sweats. Whew. Yeah, if only. Well,
get new titles.
Robin Carey here from Alternate Ending. First time that we've had the opportunity to sit down with you. Thank you for taking the time, Robin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're excited about your directorial debut. Would have certainly welcomed seeing you in person at Sundance and all the pomp and circumstance we were talking about with Cheryl earlier that goes with that. But hopefully this is a decent surrogate for that experience as well, too. So we've got the banners. We thought about even going outside. We're in snowy Wisconsin and throwing a jacket on just to give you the full experience.
In honor of land. Yes.
In honor of land, you are willing to sacrifice your life in that freezing cold of Wisconsin. How cold is it there? It's got to be.
It was 2 this morning.
Yeah, we were single digits, and we just got dumped on quite a bit with snow. But once you can adjust. The human body is amazing. It can adjust to anything. So it's just par for the course at this point.
Wow.
But is this your first Sundance experience, hitting it right out of the gate with your directorial debut at Sundance? So, but is this your first time going through the process?
I was in a couple of movies in the past that got into Sundance, but this is a real honor. And it was so timely that Focus Features just said, I don't know, it's our gut instinct. We should definitely get the movie seen, submit it. We just feel right about it, that it should be released now. This topic, people need to see it.
No, it's extremely, while the film focuses on your character, Edie, dealing with grief in a unique way by retreating out into the wilderness and trying to forge a new path. You're right. The applicability of it to what we're all facing currently. It's interesting. It's not probably something that was intentional going into it, but it's certainly a unique outcome with the pandemic and everything that's going on. Is that right?
Yes, and that is why I wanted to do this movie in particular. It came to me during the time when the world and America was experiencing the random shootings that were going on almost bi-weekly. And I was just thinking about the level of grief these poor people were experiencing and how do you get through that? And this movie was so beautiful because you do need the help of others. It's about resilience and hope and human kindness. And I just thought we kind of need to be reminded of that message right now because of all the ugliness that was going on.
I 100% agree because I think to me, I took away so much. I took away grief, obviously, but it's also about trauma and the things that we experience in our life. And even if your story isn't exactly the same as this, and I hope it's not, for everybody, but everybody can empathize with this story and the plight that Edie has, the plight of the character. And really, it's more about, for me, how do you sort of go through that cycle? Because I feel like your character and Edie's character, it ended up being about that perseverance of it's okay to go through that cycle more than once. You can be somewhere and then you can go back. And then it's how do you, once you go back, how do you continue to pull yourself forward? And that's what I loved most about, I think, the way that you portrayed Edie's character is that that's okay. To go through that cycle multiple times and the end result being, what we hope everybody experiences. So we loved that message that we took away from it.
Oh, that's great. Because we talked a lot about that before we made the movie. Trauma has different phases. And Miguel understands the phases that she must go through because he was there before. He's been there before. And that's why he was meant to help her.
And your character takes an interesting path in dealing with that grief and that trauma. As a married couple, Carrie and I had a debate. We actually paused the movie and we thought about what would we do in a horrific.
Well, we have two little kids too. This is really an empathy trip for us. We've got two little girls and married couple. So yeah, we did pause. And I will just say I'd love to know your perspective on, in reality, sort of where you fall towards this. But Rob was like, I'm all Edie. I'm all in. I'm doing exactly what Edie did. And frankly, I was like, well, I'm just going to go. I'm so codependent that I'm like, well, I got to go just find a bag of Cheetos and go hang out otherwise. But everybody handles everything differently. Like, how did you connect with Edie's character in that way?
I mean, I understand intellectually, cognitively why she needed to do that. And I kept using the word, instead of, well, she's going to commit suicide. That was never the intention in the script, nor as an actor's choice. She needs to erase herself because that self that she's always known doesn't exist anymore. So when you erase, you have to attain something new, somehow, some way. And she just decides to honor the very thing that her child wanted. That was always his dream, where I want to live. In the mountains with mom and dad, and it's like an homage to her family to be there.
Appreciate you clarifying that point, because I think there was a read where we were debating too, is, she's obviously not, this is not a skill set that she has. Carrie and I watch a lot of Bear Grylls and Naked and Afraid. You plop me down in that situation, I am not.
You're done.
It's game
You're
over
out.
now. So it's actually helpful to get that little bit of clarity on her intention. And you mentioned a lot of we's in this. Like, you had a great team supporting you through this. A longtime collaborator in Aaron Dignam as well too, that you worked on with in Denial and several other features. How did this come to you, and why was this story the one that you wanted to bring forward?
Primarily for the message. It was that one line that got me in the script when she says, "Why are you helping me?" to Miguel. And Miguel says, "Because you were in my path." That just came full circle. You're like, human beings are really beautiful people. And I will repeat it, the ugliness, the bullying, the meanness that has been ignited the last 4 years.
I completely agree. And it's, how do you put back what I think you do too with Miguel's character here is sort of like, how do you find that power of positivity in the people that you surround yourself with and let that in? Because I think that the negativity that, like you're talking about, that we have felt can really, be consuming for a lot of people, and it's contagious. And so it's, how do you bring back those positive connections and really those positive people into your life that drive you forward and make you better and, inspire you? And that's exactly what he did. I love Dee Dee, but man, he's also an MVP. He's wonderful, right? Wonderful character.
And he's such a beautiful soul, Demian Bashir. He is that naturally. What was difficult for him is he is Miguel in here, but he's 6'2" and long arms, long legs, and he moves like this all the time. He's constantly moving. He loves the chat. He's very funny. And it was work for him to get into that contained Zen space. But he is that inside anyway.
And we all need that person, I think, in our lives to bring a little bit of joy and smile. There was a recurring song that he sings throughout. Was that something that was in the script, or is that something that just happened organically?
It was in the script. I think Aaron Dignam added that scene. And when you have a low budget movie, you only have choices between 2 or 3 songs because they cost this much. And I was like, metaphorically, that was just the perfect song. Welcome to your world. And then he sings it to her. We giggled ourselves silly. And we needed levity in the movie for sure. And Aaron Dignam brought that to the script.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And I think, like you're saying, I think there's probably something that helps when you're building a character like Miguel, if that's sort of inherent in him. I think knowing that you've played such a broad range of characters in the past for you, I think recently you've embodied characters that have such intensity and tenacity and grit, and we're all inspired by that. But I think this reflection of you, what you bring, is so much more vulnerable and raw. And I guess, how does that compare, I guess, to other roles? How was it difficult to sort of pivot into a role that's so different from some of that you've played in recent years?
It's, closer to the bone, I would say, because as you guys know, when you're a parent, you don't have to imagine beyond what you naturally feel. So getting there every day emotionally, you're basically playing yourself. Like, it's somebody like Claire Underwood. I mean, that was just a departure from me completely. And that's a different kind of job. That's all. It's all a job at the end of the day, what we do. And yeah, you got to work yourself up to get to an emotional place. And I would be directing and setting the shot with the DP and blah, blah, blah. And then I would just say, can I just have quiet on set? Just give me a minute. And just take a breather, get into that place, get the pictures that you need to have to bring yourself emotionally, blah, blah, blah. Roll camera, let's go. And I would generally only be good for one take. And then I'd dry out. I'd be like, I don't got anything else for you.
Oh, I can't imagine how draining it must be, in addition to balancing the new role of director, CEO of the movie, essentially. And I know that you've probably had a great team around you as well too. But how was that was it always an ambition? When we meet with writers, oftentimes, like, that's often the trajectory that they're trying to get to, is to the director's seat and kind of have creative vision, creative control over the whole project. Is this something that you've always set your sights on at one point to get to this point?
It definitely, once I had the bug on House of Cards, I was like, that's all she wrote. I'm in. I love it. Talk about contagious. I was like, this is incredible to be able to collaborate with everyone. Because as an actor, you're pretty much on your own. It's a very soloist act. And I just love collaborating with people. I love that teamwork. And all those department heads bring ideas every morning. They're so excited. Everybody wants to make the best movie. And you're like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Or that's a beautiful idea for the cabin. Or we're all architects of the building. And I don't know, I just like that inclusiveness.
It sounds like that's literal and figurative from what I understand. You actually, you built this together, but you actually built this cabin. Is that right? For the set piece?
They did.
Oh my gosh. That felt so lived in. Like, literally so lived in and old and broken down. When I had heard that, I couldn't believe it.
It was incredible because we were deciding whether to have build a cabin and put it on a stage and have green screen. Then you're not feeling the elements. It's all fake. We'd have to manufacture the snow, blah, blah. And we made the executive decision. Trevor Smith, our production designer, is off the charts fantastic. He had 20 guys building that cabin in the production office parking lot for a couple of weeks, like Lincoln logs, fitting them perfectly. The DP was in there going, give me a little slat so a shaft of light can come through there, because I'm going to want that to hit Edie over when she's by the potbelly stove. Like, they designed the cabin for the lighting as well. Where do we want to put the windows? Because we knew it was going to be west facing. So we're going to get sun that part of the day. All of it was very thought out.
Like, she's going to be laying here. Oh my God.
I know. So we said, yeah, go for it. They disassembled it, put it on the log truck, drove it up 8,000 feet and built it again on the top of Moose Mountain in Alberta, Canada.
I don't think you could go through an experience like this in making this movie, visit Alberta and be in touch with nature, to not leave with something. Did you leave with anything just a feeling or something of wanting to get back to that stillness and that peace that setting offer, because it's beautifully captured on screen. Again, it could be a postcard just to look at the way that you all captured it.
We lived on the mountain. That's why. The DP lived in Edie's cabin in my sleeping bag.
Oh, gosh.
So that he could capture rain, snow, and moon at night, whether it was midnight or sunrise at 4:30 in the morning. He got all of those shots because he stayed up there. And so did the producer and I. We stayed in our trailers at base camp right behind the cabin.
Oh my gosh. I hate to ask about the animals then. Was it
and all the animals?
Frightening.
They locked us in our trailers. They were like, okay, you ready? Okay, you're done barbecuing outside. We had our bear whisperer that was there 24/7. And he would lock us in the trailer at night because bears can open the doors, as we all know.
Oh,
that was actually one of the
wow.
questions from our oldest daughter, who's probably as big or bigger of a fan of yours than we are. But she saw the trailer for the film and asked if you got a chance to see bears in real life. So we'll go back to her and confirm that's an affirmative.
Yeah, you have to tell her that he came on set and got over to the craft service table and ate a hamburger, and then he came back every single day wanting a burger.
Oh my goodness, she'll be so excited to know that. That's amazing. I can't imagine what it must have been like to really feel so connected to nature as you were obviously in this movie. And we feel that as viewers too. You know, we really feel like we're right there with you, you know, in a lot of the points where you're really hitting some of the lower points. Because of that, we're like wanting to just like drive there as well. Like, how do we get there? How do we help? It really is a movie that you're able to connect with.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and before we let you go, I'm curious, survival skill rating. Obviously, Edie learns a couple tricks along the way. How would you fare? Obviously, you stayed on the mountain there. How would you handle yourself in a similar situation?
We've been doing these interviews, Demian and I absolutely believe this is the answer. I couldn't do it without him. No way.
I'm also going to call him if I get into one of these situations. So I'll have to get his number afterwards because I feel more confident in his ability to navigate than Rob and I. So
I hear you. Somebody said recently, they're like, if I had Miguel show up on my doorstep with a cup of noodles, top ramen, everything would be fine. Everything would be fine.
100%. Well, we loved it. And thank you again so much for catching up with us. It was wonderful. We can't wait to share it with everybody and for everybody to see it once it comes out. So this is Land coming out soon for folks to love and enjoy just as much as us.
And in the meantime, I'm going to go get some pajama pants. I had no idea, Robin. So that's next on my list of things to go procure from your site.
Get out there. Yeah, pour FM. Do it.
Well, thanks, Robin.
Thanks, team.
Thanks guys.
Everyone.